Today, we are starting with the topic, the role of mentorship in STEM education and research for global positioning. And all thanks to Dr. Timitope once again. She really provided a good background. She made us to know how, we transitioned from, I would say, conventional mode of education where we have the Igbo mentorship and so on, to the new system, the new model behind the brick walls, and the shortcomings of that transition. The aim of that transition is for a wider reach and so on. But the shortcomings is that there's an identity disconnect, lack of mentorship, and so on. And that really provided a good foundation for my own discussion. There are some things that you will definitely hear me repeating from what she said, and there are some things that you hear me expand a little on what she said. But before we start, I like to look at some people that have gone ahead of us and share some quotes, what they said about mentoring. There's this man, I know we know Benjamin Franklin. We know him. He's an American polymath, inventor, a scientist. He's the one that started what we call the lightning rod. He was the one that actually made us to know that lightning itself is an electricity. So he said, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. Involve me and I learn. There's this other man that we know. His name is Steve Jobs. We know Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, the one that popularized the GUI, that we talk about GUI, the graphic user interface, is the one that popularized it. And he said, my job is not to be easy on people. My job is to take these great people we have and to push them and make them even better. That's come from Steve Jobs. Then this person, we know him very well. His name is Isaac Newton. I guess everybody in this room, since we're discussing STEM, should know who Isaac Newton is, or was rather. He was one that formulated the 3 laws of motion, the law of universal gravitation, a lot of things that he invented, the color spectrum, and so on. He said, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Now, for us to actually go ahead, coming from these words that were from these great people, who refer to them later on why they said these things that they said. Let's just have some feelings in the room. Now, can we quickly just scan this barcode and quickly tell me what comes to your mind when you hear about mentorship? You can just scan this barcode, it's very easy. Just scan it, you take it to that Slido, just click on what comes to your mind when you hear about mentorship, from guidance, career advice, networking, personal development, or I don't know. You actually do not know. So let's just quickly do this. We'll be seeing it live as we do that. So please, I think it's anonymous. Nobody will know what you voted. Just say something so that we can, have a feel of our ideas in the room. Please, let's go ahead to do that. Good. One person have done that. Guidance, okay. Waiting for us. It will take time. It shouldn't take time. We're waiting for us. We are waiting for us. Please, let's just vote. Just scan that QR code and pick an option. Waiting. Hello, waiting. Okay. Second person have voted guidance. Okay. All right. So from this, this is the ratio. We're like 20 something on the call now. Two people. That's roughly. That's a very poor ratio. Can we have more people? Career advice. Okay. We're going to be doing a couple of these voting. So please get ready. Just for us to understand what we are thinking about. What we have in our minds when we hear about these things. Please, let's still vote. I'm waiting. Let's respond. Okay, guidance, let's respond. If we get to like 6, we can stop. Yes. Okay. All right. So that means generally, from the people in the room, what comes to our mind when we hear about mentorship is guidance, which is actually very true. Okay. Oh, good, good. Guidance. Okay, some say personal development, career advice. Good, but generally guidance. Okay, let's try and get some words. Let's just scan this code again. When you hear about STEM or global positioning, what are the words that come to your heart? STEM or global positioning. What are the words that come to your heart? Scholarship, um, funding, invention, patents. And what are the words that come to your heart? Just say it. Let's see the word palette here. Exposure. You can say as many words that come to your heart when you hear about STEM and global positioning. Influence, scholarship. Good. Scholarship, influence, exposure. Okay. Science. All right. STEM. Yeah. Science. Okay. Let's vote. Let's vote. Invention. Good, good, good. Influence, exposure, impact, advancement. Good. The courses for smart people. Thank you, that person. I appreciate that. At least we laughed a little bit. Good. And he or she also put a smiley. Good. Innovation, exploration. Good. Good. There are two words that actually stood out thus far, influence and exposure. Okay. Okay. More. Can we have more? Can we have more? You can. Yeah. Interesting. So when you hear about STEM or global positioning, we think about it. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Waiting. Impact. Oh, good. 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 Let's have more people. Let's have more words. We can create a word palette here. The traveling and giving speeches around the world. Interesting. Discovery. Discovery. Good, good. Please, let's have more. Let's have more. Let's have more. It's getting interesting. So three words have been able to stand out. Discovery. No, four words. Discovery, impact, influence, exposure. Discovery, impact, influence, exposure. Good. Can we just spend one more minute? One more minute. One more minute. Exploration. That's interesting. Exploration. Okay. Few more seconds. Exploration. Opportunity. Yeah. Opportunity. Insights. Good, 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 good. Okay. All right. So from our word palette now, we've been able to, extract. Something just came up there. Impact. Yeah, impact became a major word. Good, good, good. So we have like five major words or six. Discovery, impact, opportunity, exploration, influence, and exposure. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying your words. Thank you so much. Advancements. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. The last for this. So now we've talked about those words. Yes, yes. We've talked about those words. We know that we are seeking, global reach. So when you hear about STEM education and research now in our locality, what do you think? What's the biggest challenge? Is it lack of funding? Or do you think it's the limited mentorship? Or do you think it's limited global exposure, poor infrastructure, or weak industry links? These are actually very, serious words. Okay. Lack of funding, limited global exposure. All right. Limited mentorship, weak industry links. Lack of funding is becoming number one. All right. Okay. Poor infrastructure. Okay. Waiting. Let's vote. Is it voting now? Or let's select what we think is the biggest challenge of STEM education in Nigeria. All right. Can we have more? Can we have more? It's very simple. Just scan the QR code to your far left and just click on something. Lack of funding. Can we have more people, please? 6 people out of the 24 in the room is still small. Please, let's have more. Lack of funding. All right. So generally, it's lack of funding. So let's quickly go back our voting. What comes to mind when you hear about mentorship? The first word that comes to mind is guidance. Guidance. Our word palette, we have advancement, opportunity, impact, exposure, discovery, exploration, influence. And what we think is the major challenge in Nigeria is lack of funding. Good. Thank you for providing this the little understanding of the backgrounds in Nigeria and an understanding of mentorship and what we actually wanted. So we know that what we in this room, what we think mentorship is actually about is providing guidance. Yeah, and we think that the major problem is lack of funding. All right, I guess throughout along this course, we'll be able to see that one of the things that can help us also is mentorship, because it can also help us with information regarding funding. Okay, all right. So let's quickly, I won't spend too much time here because Dr. Timotokbe have done so much definitions for us in terms of the basic words in our topic, and the things the words that she picked out are the words I also picked out, also education and research. I wouldn't take too much time here. Education is process of learning or the acquisition of knowledge. It's actually aimed at personal development and society transform. So it's learning existing knowledge. That's what education is basically about, learning existing knowledge. And what is research? Research is a systematic, diligent investigation into a subject or a deep insight into a particular knowledge that is existing. And what is the aim of that is to bring out a new knowledge. So we say that education, learning existing knowledge, research, creating new knowledge, and education often prepares individuals to undertake research, and vice versa, while research feeds back into education. So it's intertwined. And she already explained to us what STEM education. STEM, we know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And the idea about STEM education is to combine all these three together. Now it's even STEM M. Now they are adding medicals to it. So it's science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. So, and the idea is to bring all these subjects together into one, rather than treating them differently. And what is the aim? To enable innovation, critical thinking, and problem solving. Innovation, critical thinking, and problem solving. Now, what is global positioning? It refers to deliberate process of establishing skill sets. Hope I am not too fast. I do talk fast, so please let me know if I'm talking too fast so that I can slow down. So this refers to deliberate process of establishing skill sets, identity, and reputation. Please note those words I put in blue is intentional. Deliberate process of establishing skill set, identity, and reputation with what? Relevance, universal relevance, portability, and in-demand value, rather than just stay localized. Now, if we say global positioning, let's get this right, may not necessarily mean you leaving your locality, which may also actually evolve it to go outside, but it is you having an in-demand value that is globally relevant. If it is definitely globally relevant, then you may need to travel. But the idea is not just to want to travel or leave your locality, but the idea of global positioning is to have an in-demand value, a skill set that is universally relevant. So let's put that at the back of our mind. So what is mentoring? Now, I consulted this paper. I will make reference to this paper a lot. Said by Nabil, just last year publication. It says mentoring is a professional working alliance where experienced individuals guide less experienced mentees through structured or organic relationships. And the major reason is for personal and professional growth. But we see two words here. That means mentoring can actually be structured Structured in the sense that it is, organized, or organic. Organic in the sense that it can come natural. It can come naturally. There are people that just have a personal relationship with, and they were able to mentor you in a particular way. Dr. Temidope actually told us about, different kind of mentorship. Definitely, I will still go there. But let's put at the back of our mind that mentoring can actually be organic, naturally growing, naturally incentive, or structured. And according to this paper also, it centers on three themes: flexibility, communication, and trust. Flexibility, communication, and trust. Just some side notes: coaching is not actually mentoring, it's different. Coaching is often short term. You needed a support for a particular thing that you are working on. You go for a coaching in that regard. So you have issues with finances. Okay, you go for coaching in terms of investment. But mentoring is more long term, broader perspective, and it's actually for personal development and enhancement. So there's a bit of a difference between coaching and mentoring. Let's put that back at the back of our mind also. Now, I consulted this and tried to check, okay, what's the word cloud? We try to formulate a word cloud initially. The word cloud for a mentor's characteristics, someone that we say is a mentor. One, that person must be honest, must be knowledgeable, must be able to communicate well, because none of us we want to. And okay, I remember when Dr. Loke was in our session, she asked, who are those that are a bit, afraid of mentoring, because you are thinking, yeah, I don't know what I will get out of it, or something like that. You want to work with a mentor that does not have empathy, or someone that is not listening, or someone that is not patient, or someone that is not approachable, or someone that is not open, or someone that is not available. The reason why I laughed is because we know how a PhD structure is. She said something about the fact that if you have a good mentor, a good PhD supervisor, your life is, half made. But if you have a very bad supervisor, then you need to really pray to God to help you. But these are the words in which we want to look at from in somebody that we want to call a mentor. How is the person's organization? How is the person's communication? What is this person's intelligence level, his quotient level, his patience? Is the person attentive? Can I reach this person easily? Is the person collaborative? This is just a word cloud on a mentor's characteristics. Now, I think we should go deeper into what I'm trying to explain today. Now, in terms of Nigeria Africa context, we had that's Slido the other time, and I think what did you identify? I think we identified. Let me see. Sorry, let me see what we identified as Nigeria's problem. Oh, sorry. Let me stop sharing. I think something happened there. Give me some seconds. Sorry, just give me some seconds. I'll bring this back up. Okay. Am I back up now? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Not yet, sir.
Yes, I can hear
Am I
you,
back up
sir.
now?
Not yet, sir. We can't see your
Not
slide.
yet. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, now?
Yes, sir. I can see it now.
Good. Okay, sorry. I have to go back to the beginning. All right. I think we are here. All right. So I try to look at, check just a little research and look at, okay, what are the issues we have presently in Nigeria when we're talking about research and education? We know that UNESCO, there's a data from UNESCO that says that 80% of African countries spend under 1% of their entire GDP on R&D. This actually constrains quality, make us less competitive, and there's lack of knowledge production. whereas countries like UK spend over 3% of their entire GDP on research. In fact, some countries like UK have some major department like UKRI. Sorry, I'll be speaking a bit more of UK terms because I'm here. UKRI, some other department, their core assignment is research. I know also in the USA, I see that they spend over close to 4% of the entire GDP on research, whereas some countries in Africa has actually spent less than 1%. So we should know what the issues we are facing, where it is stemming from. Then another issue is laboratory access. One of the issues when I was in Nigeria that I would not really want to do, my PhD in Nigeria because I felt like I want to do power electronics. Will I have access to the lab? And funny enough, when I got in here, my supervisor was say, okay, guy, I'm not sure you will do lab work. I have to pray. This lab work must be done. One of the reasons why I came over to this side is lab work. So one of the issues we have back home is that there's limited access to laboratory, to conduct researches. Then another thing, I saw this technical paper also from one person at a government technical college in Oyo. The person says that there is publication rising, yes, actually, but most of these publications are just within the regional collaboration. It lacks external engagement, and the way publication researches work is external collaboration, external engagement. That gives strength to your publication and strength to your paper. But here in Nigeria, we have few of that, but it's still not to at par with international standards. And definitely this is an issue that we face. Almost one supervisor in Nigeria supervises close to 10 or 15 students. This is really, really, really an issue. If one person is supervising close to 10 to 15 students, you cannot expect maximum, from such person. And also, there is a talent outflow, shrinking mentor pools. There are less people in Nigeria that could actually mentor because people are leaving. People are leaving. So, in terms of what we are discussing today, I was able to bring up these 4 issues that we face presently in Nigeria: underinvestment, limited laboratory access, growth in publication, limited growth in population, and limited impact and supervision overload. And I think in my presentation, one of the issues that can help us create a gap, to bridge that gap of all these issues is mentoring. Yes, I don't know. I know majority of us may not know this person, definitely, but Dr. Sonny will definitely know this person. His name is Professor Olorunfemi. He's a guru in power electronics. I met him when I was doing my master's in UI in 2015 or thereabout. That's when I met Professor Joseph Olorunfemi. And at that time, I knew I will do my PhD. That's one thing I want to talk about. What do you think the Lord is leading you to? Or how do you think the Lord is going to lead you? I know I'm going to do my PhD. And at that point in time, I was confused. I don't even know the difference between power system or power electronics at that point in time, from where I was coming from. So I met this man. It's a long-term relationship with him. And we start to discuss. We do not talk most of the time. It's just once in a while at key intersections in my career. Just key intersections. That's how I have communication with him. And from that interaction with him, I was able to select my area in power systems engineering. I was able to know that, okay, it's good for me to go for power electronics by my interfacing with him. And the school I did my, should I use what I did? Or let me use what I'm doing because I just finished my PhD. The school where I'm doing my PhD, it was the one that not recommended, it just gave me an idea. It's good to go to a school that is doing well in the United Kingdom. And I was like, okay, which school is doing well in the United Kingdom? He said, if you are looking for good schools, don't don't look at schools in terms of their general rating. Look for the course you are doing and look for how good they are in that particular course. And I have to search and I say, okay, this school is the best electrical electronic university in the whole of Scotland. Oh, good. That's how I got that information from him. And when I started, also, I lost touch with him. I was doing a lot of things at the same time, reading thousands of papers, don't know where to go. I couldn't get, the area I have to concentrate on in the power electronics. I have another discussion with him, and he actually guided me. And actually, the area in which I actually had my PhD on was based on the conversation I had with him in 2022. His name is Professor Joseph Olorunfemi, and that's my personal experience when it comes to mentoring. All right, so I did this ChatGPT help. Could just give me a funny diagram to show the difference between a student that does not have a mentor and a student that has opportunity to be mentored by someone. And they gave me these two pictures, one to the left and one to the right. Definitely we can see the sign help. I was asking, okay, just give me just to laugh, and we can see the guy to the left confused. And honestly, when I started my PhD, I was in this state. I was seriously in this state, confused. Papers all around me, don't know where to go, don't know what to do, couldn't trace out things until I have that Zoom call with Professor Ojo. And he was able to help me. And sincerely, few months down the line, I see myself presenting at international conferences. Honestly, this is not me trying to say what is not there. I see myself presenting at international conferences, publishing papers, and actually collaborating with people in my field as a result of just one Zoom call I had with my mentor. So this picture just gives a description of what could happen when you have a reliable mentor. All right, so let's start. Basically, overview of mentoring framework. I consulted these guys, actually, the Nabi and Wemsley, to give us an overview of what mentoring framework is. And as Dr. Temitope said in her presentation, she was talking about, different types of mentoring, well-being mentor, and so on. So these guys were able to divide mentoring into two types. The first type is mentoring in terms of delivery, and the other type is mentoring in terms of content. So in terms of delivery, they were able to highlight 5 modes of delivery. I said at the beginning that mentoring can actually be organic and it can actually be structured also. So they said, okay, there are 5 types of mentoring based on delivery. The first one is individual mentoring through one-to-one, face-to-face. The one I had with Professor Joe is not face-to-face, but it's one-to-one. It's online. Do you understand? The other they said is group-based mentoring programs. So you can have mentoring programs that is not just one-on-one basis, but a group interfacing with one person. Third, we can have peer-based mentoring programs. This is not talking about someone that is far ahead of you, but somebody that is at par with you. You can also have mentoring from your peers, mentoring by a peer rather than a senior supportive person. The third one is online mentoring programs. You have to, go for a structured program that is online, either electronic or virtual based. And the last approach that they gave it is hybrid approaches. It can be a mixture of peer-to-peer, or a mixture of someone that is giving you one-on-one. That same person is providing mentoring for a group of people, and it could also be online mentoring. So that's the first type of mentoring based on delivery. The second type of mentoring is in terms of the content. She was talking about well-being mentoring, career mentoring, and so on. So in terms of content, it could be psychosocial mentoring, psychological mentoring, emotional mentoring, social support, social acceptance. That's a kind of mentoring that has to do with content, career mentoring. You want to advance your career advancement, career support, career exposure, visibility. And there are other types: collaborative mentoring, cultural mentoring, role modeling mentoring, and so on. So this gives us an idea that in our lifetime, we may or we will definitely have more than one mentors. That I have a mentor does not mean I'm stuck. I could have more than one mentor based on my need, psychological need, career mentoring. I have several other mentors apart from Professor Uju that are, helping me in other areas of what I intend to do in life. So these are the types of mentoring in terms of content and in terms of delivery. Now, mentoring shapes something for you to get an output. There is a constant, there is a constant in between the type of mentoring or the mentoring programs and the outputs that you are expecting. And that's what this guy stands as intervening variables. There are things that are needed to shift, things that are needed to change in order to get the output that we are looking for in terms of mentoring. First of those things is professional identity. Mentoring will be able to affect your professional identity. Then we'll begin to see the outputs of that mentoring. I don't know if you're getting my point. The career planning, without, if somebody without entrepreneurial parents or somebody with higher management experience or lower entrepreneurial experience and so on, or contextual effects, in this part of the world now, we start to talk about less represented groups and so on, female students, underrepresented groups of STEM, undergraduates, graduates. So these are the intervening variables, the effects or the identity that needed to be affected by mentoring to produce a particular outcome. I hope you are following me. Now, the outcome that we are expecting to see are divided into three. First outcome has to do with choice related. That has to do with, developing confidence in your career decisions, such as career self-efficacy, your confidence in your career, developing actual career choice itself, what and what to do, confusion here and there. Mentoring can help you straighten that confusion. For example, now, I did power systems in my undergraduate. I came into power electronics in my master's. I looked at it and I actually wanted to go deeper into power electronics. And at the same time, I wanted protection. Now, as I'm a power systems guy with power electronics exposure and dealing in protection. But I do not come to that conclusion. I did not come to that conclusion or ability to know that I can actually marry these three aspects, power system, power electronics, and power protection together, until when I came across a mentor that guided me and said, okay, this is a possibility. Now, the other output that we can see is skill related. When you see a mentor, there are some skills that you need to develop. Then you look for a mentor that has that skill that can help you. Just as Dr. Temitope talked about a mentor, what's her name again? I don't know if I'm correct. So you look for a mentor that has that skill that can help you. So one of the outcomes that we can see is, knowledge, skills, attributes linked to choosing or planning the career planning skills or research skills or several other skills that you need to get. The third output is that of transition related, related to the transition to real world. Now, one of the things that I love to see, and one of the concerns I have with some of the researches that we do, is that how do we do research and it's not really giving you impact in the society? We're not really seeing the difference in the society. You see, you see a lot of papers that are just seriously mathematically correct, so on point, but you look at it, how do we apply this? These are the things in which mentoring can help you with. Now, this is the whole body. We see the mentoring programs transitioning through the intervening variables and give us the outcome. So mentoring does not directly produce career success. Instead, what it does is that it helps shape identity. It helps planning ability, experience, and contextual factors, which I've just explained. So these intervening variables then influence the career choices we make. It helps influence the skills that we develop, and it helps in transitioning, our present study into actionable things that are, relevant to the society. I hope you are getting me, thus. But let me get your feedback. I hope you are getting me. Anybody hearing me? Are you following? Are we following? Are we following? Is it making sense at all? Let me hear some feedback from the house. Are we following? Are we following?
Yes, sir, we're following you.
Good. I hope it's making sense.
We're following you, sir.
Good. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead. Now, mentorship in relation to global positioning. Thank you so much again to Dr. Temitope. She really gave a very good foundation. One of the things that mentoring do for us in terms of global positioning is that it enables international collaboration. Now, mentors may introduce us to collaborators abroad and add in us to international e-learning networks, can recommend us to global labs, connect us with journal editors. In terms of this, I met someone at a conference. I have been reading a particular paper, and I met someone at the conference, and I discovered that he is the editor for a particular journal I'm working on. That is a big opportunity. If you are able to have one-on-one discussion with a journal editor that you are actually working to put your paper in. So these are the things that global mentoring in terms of global positioning does for us. Give us opportunity for international collaboration. Then it enhances our visibility in terms of publications, conferences, and research groups. It enhances our visibility. We'll be able to publish with people in different regions. And being the fact that they are in different regions, they come with different perspective and different understanding of the field that is happening in their own field. And that gives your work more, it makes your work more robust, because you are not tied with a particular locality in terms of what you are doing. You are considering global influence in what you are doing. So one of the ways in which mentoring helps, it helps, visibility in terms of your publication, conferences, and potential research groups. The another thing that it does is it helps us in terms of strategic career decisions, choosing a PhD topic. Now, let me dwell here a little. Now, it is not so much about getting a PhD, doing a research. I think I've explained that before. It is much about understanding the state of heart. What is really going on in my field, and how can I push it further? Now, there are some things you may be thinking in your head that they are actually relevant or the best thing to do, but based on your own limited knowledge, you may not be able to capture it accurately. But when you have conversation with mentors, and that's some of the things that your supervisor does for you when you are a PhD student, is to give you a widened reach of what is going on, the state of the heart, and how you can push it further a little. I came to this conclusion when I was doing my PhD that is when you are doing literature review, we get to gather papers, gather textbooks. Then I thought to myself, why not start to gather patents? Read patents, understand patents, what has been done, patent, then that will give you a wider understanding, a wider reach. And I did not come to that conclusion easily until when I had a discussion with somebody, actually. So it helps us with strategic career decisions. And it also assists us in access to funding. And based on what we did, that slide that we did that, I know a lot of people has issue, discussing about funding. We thought that the major problem in Nigerian education is funding. So one of the things that mentoring help us to is to have, access to information regarding funding. Now, mentors can introduce us to a variety of opportunities in terms of funding that we may not have heard about. I know some of us know about Commonwealth scholarships, the DAS scholarship, Maria Curie fellowships, IEEE grants, a lot of industry-sponsored doctoral funding that ordinarily you may not know until you start to have discussion with someone that is in the field, someone that that can call a mentor. I in the UK here, it's when I got here that I understood that okay, there are actually apprenticeship studies in the UK that you will be working in the industry whilst studying at the same time. These are the opportunities or knowledge that we can gain when we have someone that is mentoring us. Sorry, excuse me. Just give me some seconds, please. All right. Sorry, someone. All right. Let me go ahead. I think Dr. Sonny is trying to reach me. Oh, all right. So mentors can also help us to provide, recommendation letters in terms of when you see funding that you needed to, mentors can help in providing such letters for PhD admissions. They can also help us in, grant writing. Now, I also don't like writing applications or submitting applications, but if you have a right mentor, there is a skill to it. There is a way, to present, your information, what you are doing on that is suitable to get grants. And those are the things, one of the things that mentors help you to have access to. And another thing that I believe that we can get from a mentoring relationship is that mentors also expose their mentees to funded projects in their field. Now, Dr. Temitope mentioned something about a lineage of your research, as in you have what you are doing. There's a lineage of people that is working in that area that knows themselves. So your mentor probably have an idea of existing funded projects in that field. It may not be directly their home, but they have an information regarding that you do not know. So those are one of the things of opportunities that having a mentor can provide for us. Now, how do we or where do we find mentors? This is just a brush through. Definitely in our universities, we can find mentors. We are discussing about STEM, so my discussion is going to be focused on STEM. We have mentors that can be found in universities, our research groups. We definitely research group, we see people that can mentor us in that field. Then conferences. I need to say something about this. It is not necessary for you to have all the money for you to go for a conference. There are conferences around you that you can start to go to, and the aim. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, just give me some minutes. Oh, okay. Sorry. I need to rush up. We have to finish very soon. I just got a message now. All right, so let me just quickly rush up with this. Now, one major area that you can actually get a mentor is in conferences. I went for a conference last week. As I said, now I'm working on power system protection, and there's a technology that is being used for power system protection, especially when you're talking about cable condition monitoring and so on like that. It is called traveling wave technology. Traveling wave. I know some of you have heard about it. Honestly, I've been reading about traveling wave. I know the person that started this. In that conference, that person came. I met him one-on-one. I was like, are you serious, Peter Crosby? Sorry, Peter Crowley. I met this man in a conference, someone that has been working on traveling wave technology for the past 40 years. What do you expect? I had a conversation with him, and I start, next conversations definitely with him. But that does not mean immediately I will say, sir, can you mentor me? No, there's wisdom to it. There's wisdom to it. So industry, you can definitely meet mentors in industry, how to rush up, online platforms, then professional societies. Let us try as much as possible to identify with professional societies as much as we can. IET, Institute of Electrical Technology, IEEE, NSE, these are societies that we should identify with, because these people, most of them, you can find them in those societies and you can easily strike up a conversation with them. I have to quickly rush up. I don't have the time to go through this again. Then how do we maximize the mentor relationship? One, we have to consciously maintain the relationship, nurturing it, ensuring it as a long-term support. Then do your research before you meet a particular mentor. Go ahead and do your own particular research. Respect the time of the mentor. Don't just bug on them at any point in time. Ask for guidance, seek for advice, for collaborative and supportive relationship as is necessary. Then have a clear goal. Have a clear goal at the back of your mind before you approach anyone. I have to stop here. How to be a good mentee. Now, I will end here that the relationship between a mentor and mentee, most of them actually depends on the mentee. How the mentee approach the relationship is important. I was having a discussion with somebody today, and I said the pace of a mentoring relationship is actually set by a mentee. It depends on the approach that the mentee comes with, that the mentor can see that, okay, this is how much more I can pour into this person. Mentorship should not be seen as a one-sided. I need to say this. It's not to be seen as a one-sided benefit. As we grow as a mentee, we also need to support those that are coming behind us. Now, mentorship plays a crucial role in shaping strong STEM education and impactful research. It helps young scientists and engineers navigate complex fields, gain exposure to opportunities, and develop the confidence needed to contribute to a global level. In environments such as ours, where resources may be limited, mentorship can actually bridge important gaps in terms of knowledge, networks, and professional development. Sorry, I have to rush. Thank you so much.